Good afternoon, young lady. How are you today?
Good afternoon, Elder Lundy. I'm doing good.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm looking forward to our discussion today. We're going to be talking about something that's very near and dear to my heart because I think we as African people suffer really bad from it.
Yeah.
We're not aware of it, and it works against us.
Yeah.
And that is the importance of self-esteem.
Yes.
What is self-esteem?
Yes.
You know, I think we have to look at, what's the dictionary? What's the Webster's dictionary version of what self-esteem is? What Webster says, self-esteem, confidence in one's own worth or abilities, self-respect. The best definition, however, is how we value ourselves to others and how others view us. Self-esteem is a sense of self-value. Self-value factors such as how we compare ourselves to others and how others view us. Developing positive self-esteem and self-worth is crucial for effectively managing challenges, regulating emotions, building agency, preserving mental health, and forming healthy relationships. One's self-esteem is based on our opinions and beliefs about ourselves, which can feel difficult to change. Your self-esteem can affect whether you like and value yourself as a human being. For those who have low self-esteem, assertiveness training is what you really need.
Assertiveness training. So if you have low self-esteem, you need to learn how to assert yourself.
Right.
It's pretty powerful.
So that's kind of the crux of it for us. And the video that we're going to share is Dr. Jewel Pukum, who is a famous medical doctor who's done years and years of research on this topic. And she's got something to share with us, and we can discuss it as we finish watching it.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and get into the video.
Okay, and I did some little research on that and just looked it up. And esteem is actually a value. It is an estimate of something. And when we talk about self-esteem, we're actually talking about a value. When we look at what the definition of self is, it talks about interest. And I thought that it was really interesting that when I looked up the word interest, to have interest in something requires you to have a feeling about it. So self-interest means that you have to have a feeling about yourself, one that allows you to give yourself a value, which is an esteem. So when we define ourselves as something that when we think about our name, or when we look ourselves in the mirror, that we automatically go into a discomforting feeling, it is the foundation for addiction. Now you want to know why people are addicts? That is why. It is because when they think about themselves based on the definition, the value, the esteem that they have assigned themselves, they automatically go into pain, and to get out of the pain, they use a substance or an activity.
Can we talk about that right here?
Yep.
That is so powerful, because when I look at the Black community and I see how much like we do drugs, like how, because smoking weed is like a huge thing in our community. And when I put the two together, even in times when I have used, I'm like, it's because of low self-esteem, because I do it to be able to feel something else and try to escape. Because when I go about the everyday world, being Black in a white society, it is a lot of performing. It is a lot of stress. It is very stressful. And then watching the media, looking at the news, it is very stressful. So then I can understand why people go to drugs and weed to escape that. And so that's why I look at it, I'm like, that's why it's so prevalent. It's because we have such when you attach things to Blackness by white society, it has such a negative condemnation, a negative attachment to a negative frequency, that no wonder we try our best to escape that.
Well, I look at it from a slightly different perspective. Everything that is alive on planet Earth is good for us. Everything. We don't know, if you don't know the purpose of a thing, you abuse it. Okay, so like if you go back historically, our ancestors used weed. If you look at the Native Americans, they used Paiute. Okay, now what was the purpose for it? The purpose for that was for them to go into a trance.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you don't know the purpose, right? Okay, so now how many times have you heard someone say, because I've said it myself, you know, well, the reason that I smoke weed is because it opens up my creativity.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So now there's nothing wrong with that. Okay. But if all you do is do it all day long, okay. And then like one of the things that I think is so interesting is how they are able to shift it on us. You know, you're already taking in cancer, right?
Yeah.
You're already taking in cancer. And so what they did was they flipped the script to make us spend more money to charge more by coming up with this notion of a blunt. So now you buy cigar paper and put that's double cancer. So we'll give us more cancer. And so you can't get young guys off of that. They want to do the blunts. So you got to go buy those things, whatever they call them. You got to go buy those things, and and who's selling those? The Arabs are selling those. They're sitting right in there. Come on, we know what you want. Come right on in, and we're gonna charge you $5. And if you don't want it, get out of the store.
Yep.
See what I'm saying? So to me, we need to learn what the purpose of it is, and even though it's coming out, we're still not getting it. You know, even though you hear people say they used it for medicinal purposes, we still ain't getting that. We still smoking it all day, every day. See what I'm saying? When I worked in the schools, the kids couldn't wait to get out of school to light up a joint.
Yeah,
see what I'm saying?
Use it as a way to like escape.
Yeah. You know, now I got to go home and do my homework. I don't want to deal with mom or dad or whatever. You know?
I just want to go chill.
So again, so now you have parents say, well, I would rather them smoking with me than to be smoking out by themselves. What about not having them smoking? Okay, so now that is a tall order. However, if we're going to break these chains, the psychological chains, then you have to start earlier. And that starts with you not smoking in front of them. That's what we don't want to do. That's where we don't want to deal with it. You know,
it's crazy. Sometimes I have friends and they smoke in the house with their kids upstairs. I'm like, they just tell the kids go upstairs. Right. Be in the living room smoking. We're like, whoa.
Right.
You know, I don't like if you're going to smoke weed, if you understand the purpose of it, you know, if it's to expand your creativity, fine. But wait until you're like 25 and wait till your mind is fully developed to start doing that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You don't want to start doing it because your parents are doing it and you're a teenager.
Right. Again, not understanding that your brain does not fully develop till you're 25. Okay. So if your brain is not fully developed, it means when you start taking smoking the marijuana, then what it does is it retards your brain. You know, and so you can grow into be a man at 25, 26, 30, but your mentality is one of a 15-year-old because he got stuck down there, you know, and so nobody talks to them about that. Then when you talk about the other health issues, one of the things that they talk about is what it does to you sexually. For males, for men, it hastens, it fastens, it makes it quicker for them to come up with impotency. See, nobody talks to young people about that. Again, so they don't know the purpose. If you talk to them about that, yes, you can smoke all you want. But let me tell you, when you turn to about 40, it's earlier now. When you turn to about 40, now you're talking about, something's not working. And now your manhood is threatened. So now you got another excuse to get higher. So now you move on up to cocaine. See what I'm saying? Because you don't want to feel that pain of, oh man, I'm not a man. I don't, you know, but when you're 13 and 14, you can't wait to do that. You can't wait to take on that manly thing. So, you know, again, we have to educate our young people we have to give them a purpose for things. Excuse me, my bad. But you have to educate these young guys so that they don't get caught on it so early. You know, again, when you talk to young men about sex, you got to start earlier because little boys are curious, just like little girls are. And so they can be 10, 11, I don't know how old they can be. They can be any of those young ages and they can be curious. Okay, when they're curious, then you got to educate them about it because if you don't, they're going to pick it up kind of broken. They're going to pick it up piecemeal. They're going to pick it up half truths or whatever. You know, so you expose them to that. You know, like we're ashamed to talk to our children about sex.
I talk to mine. I'm always talking about sex.
Is it what's there to shame to be?
There's nothing ashamed of. I don't. We even talk about masturbation and how it's okay. It's natural. You know what I'm saying? So I don't make sex shameful. I teach them the purpose of it and the consequences that can come from doing it irresponsibly.
That's right. That's right. And that's one of the keys that we'll talk about from now on about it's okay to make these choices and these decisions, but you have to be aware of the consequences. And that's what our youth, because I did it too, our youth, when you're young, you don't deal with the consequences. You deal with right now. And that's that immediate self-gratification, instant self-gratification. That's what, when you're a young person, you want it right now. You want it. And the first time you engage in smoking marijuana, and if you get high, and when you get high, you get intimate, then that you equate that with that. So now you want to get high.
You want to get high, and then you want to go have sex. Yep, you equate the both.
So one feeds on the other. So that's why we have to teach them the purpose of it. And when they teach them the purpose of it, they make a choice. And then when they make a conscious choice, and if they have the information, then they have to deal with the consequences, and they can't come crying to their parents.
That's right.
You can't go, well, did you know? Yeah, well, yeah. That's the way it rolls. See what I'm saying?
All right. Let's keep going with the video.
Understand how much low self-esteem there is on the planet. Go ahead, let it do it. Whether you drive a big car, you wear $100,000 suit, if there's such a thing. It has something to do with the fact that when you look in the mirror or you recite your name to yourself, you automatically go into pain because the value of what you think you are does not make you comfortable. Now, this is all self-inflicted. It has nothing to do with nothing outside of you. So if you decide that being a black man in America is a horrible thing, then obviously every day you wake up, you got to do something about the pain. Oh, but this is real serious. You've got to do something about the pain. So therefore, when I wake up and recognize that my name is Joe Blow and I'm a black man in America and I don't have this, I don't have that, I don't have the other, then it's like, yes, where is the pipe? Where's the marijuana, etc., and we'll sit and stay out. That's exactly what's happening all over this country. It is because the perception of these individuals is such that they create their own emotional pain and they want out. So now the treatment is not obviously gathering up all the pipes and getting rid of all the cocaine and marijuana, because the people are still in pain because they still are perceiving themselves in less than an ideal way that creates the discomfort in the emotional body. So the treatment has to be.
Do you want to talk about that there? Okay.
To redefine themselves and give it.
Again, when you look at what the sister, when you listen to what the sister is saying, you know, self-esteem, self-value, self-worth, all of those things morph into one thing, and that is we don't like ourselves. And that's the imagery that we see on videos, on television, in the magazines, and wherever we see. We can't. Oh,
can't run from it.
My lips are thick. My nose is. I used to worry
about a broad nose.
My nose is broad. Maybe I should. You know, because you're comparing yourself to something that's not you.
Exactly.
You know, you're in an environment that's not you. Again, when you first went to school, I don't care what school you went. You could go to a one-room shack school. I don't care. The first thing you learned was about Europeans. Okay. The first pictures you saw were of Europeans. Okay. So you see Europeans, they're distinctly different in physiologically when you look at them. long, keen noses, thin lips that you can't always tell. You can't even tell that they are lips. You know, their hair is long and stringy. You know, so now it's about the 6th grade before you start seeing any pictures of you, and what you see yourself in is enslaved.
Yeah.
With chains around your neck,
your
tattered
blackness
clothes,
is dirt.
Tattered clothes, your blackness, you got dirt all over
dirt,
you, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, you're like, I don't want to identify with that. You know, and so
your
now
hair is nappy.
Yeah, so now you're off and running. So now it gets reinforced with when I was coming up, they used to have this little black kid, I can't think of his name, he was with all these white kids, and one little black kid, and he had the little his hair was all little picked all out, funny and whatever, and he had his lips were accentuated with lipstick and what, you know. So you're like, oh man, you know, you know.
Oh,
so
blackface.
Yeah. So you don't know, it wasn't blackface. This was a kid.
Oh.
So you don't want to identify with that. So then you see little kids on the playground at school saying, "Oh, you black, you black, you black," and so that black sounds negative. Okay, then if you go to the dictionary, every word that says black in the dictionary, any kind of way you say it, is negative.
Yeah, it goes along with fear. It goes along with poverty. It goes along with darkness. It goes along with hell, criminal. Like, it's tied to negative connotations.
Right. And that's one of the reasons I used to tell my students to not allow a European to define you as a minority.
Yeah.
We accepted that. How in the world can we be a minority when we're 3/5 of the population of the world?
Most people don't even know that.
See what I'm saying? So we run around. So when you say minority to white people, that says poor, black, criminal, uneducated. That's what that says. So when you say, yeah, I'm a minority, you know, well, they say, well, okay, we got this one. Yeah. You know, they don't know who they are.
I think it's so important that she brings up the connection between we are being rained on with a negative connotation of being black in a white society. Okay, we can't run from it. When we turn on the news, we see cops, we see black people being mistreated everywhere. You look at Africa, you see how much poverty they show. You look everywhere on the planet and you see black people are doing the same everywhere on the planet. It's poor, it's poverty. So it's directly linked to that. And what that means on the inside is that emotional self, because your true self, your highest and wisest self is like, man, we're great. We're more than this. But then you got society that's raining down saying, no, black is this, black is that. And you do want to escape. You want to escape that. And I'm like, there's a big part of me that sees why so many people are on drugs. And the thing is, if you don't have any racial esteem, because how can you have racial esteem in a white supremacy society? It's not possible. It's not possible because it's so opposite. They make it so polarizing that you can't. And so I can really see why so many people, you know, they don't realize that that is a big effect on your emotional self. Because when you break it down in a spiritual, metaphysical way, you know, emotion is energy. So if there is an energy, is frequency. So if there is a frequency that is negative, that is attached to being black, emotionally we're hurt. That should be enough for you to say, this is a case where we have to change the narrative on what it means to be black.
Absolutely.
And redefining yourself, which is what she gets into.
Themselves a different value system. It's real simple. So why would a person think that being a black man in America is a problem? Now, I mean, we should literally dissect that. Why would that be a problem? You know anybody cranking out black men in a meal? Of course not, because it is a divine state of existence. Only the Creator makes those.
That's the key. That's one of the keys for us to talk about is allowing us to be named and defined for.
Yes.
That's the big issue.
Yeah.
How, you know, I used to think about this when I was in college. Who gave the European the right to say that we are 3/5 of a human being?
To define
and why did we accept that? See what I'm saying? You know, so if you look at what she's talking about, you know,
I feel like you're a black
man in America today. why are we accepting that? You know, when we were enslaved, physically enslaved and psychologically enslaved, yeah, we didn't have a whole lot of options. But today we have some, and we continue to choose the slave mentality.
Yeah.
We continue to do that. You know, we are equal to any human being on this planet. We don't need to validate that. We don't need to prove it. We don't need, you know that. You know that intuitively, instinctively, spiritually, every kind of way. You know that. They even will tell you that you're created in the image and likeness of the creator. Okay, well then if you're created, what's our problem? See what I'm saying? What our problem is not recognizing all the damage that has been done to us as a result of 400 years of the most vicious, brutal enslavement that ever existed in the face of the earth.
Yep.
Okay. And we minimize it. We're over that. We don't have that. If the Jews, which was 60 years ago, if the Jewish community still can complain to the government that Jews still suffer from post-traumatic stress from Hitler for 60 years ago, then how can we not do it for 400 years?
Yeah.
You know, what makes us think we could walk off the plantation and then everything was cool? See what I'm saying? Everything wasn't cool.
We just walked off with all our mental health problems.
Right. Absolutely. That's what we did, you know. So we had to
hold on one second, Mr. Rich. I'm gonna let the door close. Hi.
So we had to regroup. Okay, well, it's kind of hard. It's like building a bicycle while you're riding it. Okay, we got to re-educate ourselves because we were brainwashed in the re-education process. All they did was wipe the hard drive clean of our brain, and then they put their stuff in us. And so after 12 years of going through that process, you come out half cooked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you don't have anything that you can fall back on. You don't identify with a homeland. You don't have a homeland because you've been taught not to identify with Africa, you know, and so you're kind of out there.
There's no esteem there.
So then now you just want to blend in. Now you just want to be like everybody else. So now I'm going to pay all $300 for a pair of Nikes. And now I'm going to get the jewelry and all the gold. You know, I'm just emulating other people because you don't know who you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
I agree. I think redefining ourselves is the key factor because we've been defined from someone who has oppressed us. And what I keep finding, I hear us saying, well, they called us the N-word, but we call it ourselves to make it endearing. And I'm like, why do we keep ingesting what they defined us as?
That's right.
Instead of taking it back, throw the shit away.
That's right.
And call yourself something else.
That's right.
That is more empowering.
That's right.
Because the N-word has a negative frequency to it.
The original man.
The original man. Exactly. So when you redefine yourself, you know, it's important because I look at it like this. I'm not going to take what God is to someone who has created massacres all over the planet. I'm not going to listen to what they define as God. I'm not going to listen to what they define as humanitarian for people that has massacred and committed genocide and dropped bombs on Earth. I'm not going to listen to what they see as Black or what they see as African. I'm not going to listen to that because it's a negative attachment to it.
Absolutely.
So I'm at the point in my life where I'm like, I'm going to redefine myself.
Right.
I'm going to learn who I am.
Right.
Knowledge of self. But I think the biggest part is, and she gets further into it, the biggest part is, okay, now that we see that there's a negative connotation to how we were defined, where do we go now to learn? What do we need to learn to redefine ourselves? And that's where she goes into, which is the value system. We have to realign what we value. Because when you look at how white people are considered the #1 influencers of the planet, they are influencing the world. So you can say they are the ones in power. Well, look at how they treat people that don't look like them. They have a low value system when it comes to melanated beings all over the planet.
All over the planet.
all over the planet. So for me, it's like I'm no longer going with what white people or white supremacy societies and influences is telling me who I am. I'm rising above that.
Right.
I'm rising above that. And I'm going to define who I am for myself.
And that's what we have to do. We have to redefine ourselves because they've put us in a trick bag. You know, even to the point that, I mean, if you talk about metaphysics in that regard, you have 50,000 thoughts a day. Okay, how many thoughts are you thinking of yourself as inferior, less than, not equal to, whatever? How many of those thoughts go there? You get reminded of it. If you listen to rap music, you get reminded of it.
Yeah.
This negative, that negative, this
N-word
negative,
this,
that,
B-word that, that.
You know, if you watch TV, even though they have they got black shows on there now, they're promoting the same thing.
Yes.
Everybody's a gangster. Everybody's a killer.
Criminal.
You know, they got women now
being
being hard as men in the criminal saying they killing men and cutting their heads off.
Black women single, but they're strong all the time. And it's just like, no one wants to be defined like it doesn't even fit who I am.
Right.
Yeah. Do you want to keep going?
Yeah.
It means that you are a divine entity. Now, understanding what that means now goes into your own value of what the creator would be. Because if that means that now you have dominion over the planet, that you have the capacity to do anything that you so put your mind to, etc. Now that puts you into a whole different reflection of self. So you don't have to sit and dig anybody and tell them that you need certain gratuities or, you know, I can't think of the name of this.
Again, what coming out of that, you know, if you have dominion over everything, we have to take that back.
Yes.
Again, this is one of the things that I used to tell my students. I tell my students, I said, I guarantee you, if you go to the Smithsonian or wherever the document is, the original Constitution, I said, I guarantee you, if you go there and you look through it page by page, it's still written in that Constitution that we are 3/5 of a human being. They didn't take it out.
Nope.
Okay, so if I come over here from Russia, and I've seen all these jigaboo movies on the TV about coons and raccoons and all of that. So when I come over here and I see you and I go read the Constitution, it says 3/5. I said, oh, no wonder they treat them like that. And so we can treat them that way.
Yes. Yes, that is what this society has defined Black people as, is not even a human being. And they've treated us this way. And they still do. They don't share resources. They still treat us like we're 3/5 of a human being. But the truth is, we have divine dominion over the planet. But because the educational system tells us that we have nothing to contribute, we're not historians, we never did anything, we never created anything. They teach us that we're just descendants of slaves. Religion teaches us that we're a sin. And we got to turn away from, you know, our connection to the sun, the moon, the stars. It's voodoo, it's sin, it's black magic. And then you got the media tells us that we're not beautiful, we're ugly, we're dirty, we're poor. When you're constantly being defined in that way, it breaks down your self-esteem.
Absolutely.
And you're off balance within. Then you go to drugs to make up for it. But the truth is, we have dominion to rule over the world. But what do I need to know? And that's what she gets into, which I love, knowledge of self. And she put that up there with the Egyptian pyramids. They wrote that on the pyramids. Kemet, people like that look like me and you wrote that on the pyramids. Know thyself. What do you need to know to have high self-esteem? Well, you need to understand your natural personality traits. What comes naturally to you. You need to know what your strengths are, because those are your natural abilities to get through life. You need to know what your values are, which are the invisible forces behind your choices. And you need to understand the lessons behind your experiences that you have. And I feel like when you learn those things about yourself, you begin to have inner self-esteem and create and see the value that you have within yourself. And then I believe that you start to redefine who you are. Like, I'm more than just what society tells me I am. I'm more than just my societal titles and my societal roles. I'm resilient. I'm creative. I'm a communicator.
We're multi-genius.
I'm a multi-genius.
Right, right.
I have a long history
Mhm.
of creators and geniuses
That you've tried to hide from.
that has been hidden from me.
Mhm.
And so that's what we need to know. We need to know our history, and we need to know knowledge of self.
And I think the part of that I would add to that, you're excellent, right on point. The part that I want to add to that so people can hear this is that we have to stop playing games with ourselves by saying, I don't want to study my history because it makes me angry when I see what they did.
No, it
or
does.
I don't want to do it because it's just painful.
It is.
You know,
It is.
yeah, it is. But if you don't know what was done to you, how can you correct it?
You can't.
And so you continue to perpetuate it and repeat it over. And today we are cooperating with our oppressor.
Yep.
They sitting. I used to tell my sons, they're laughing all the way to the bank at us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they said, man, we didn't know that we had trained them that well. We don't even have to watch them no more. They do it themselves.
Hey, they wrote about it.
See what I'm saying?
100 years ago,
you know, yeah, you know, so you know, here we are continuing to do that, you know, because we don't understand our self-esteem. Like there's 3 kinds of self-esteem. You know, there's high self-esteem, there's low self-esteem. Okay. We got to know the difference. What is high self-esteem? What is low self-esteem? If you got high self-esteem, what does that mean? That means you're confident, you're self-confident. You know, you're on an upbeat. Your energy is at a positive high level. Okay. Well, we don't have to be scientists to understand the fundamentals of that. If you're feeling pumped and excited, and I'm feeling down and negative, which energy is going to win out? The negative energy is more powerful than the positive energy. So I'm going to eventually wear you down.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so you got to know what that energy level is. You know, we talk about different dimensions, you know, we don't know anything about that. So that's a body of information and a body of knowledge that was taken from us.
Yeah. And the thing is when people start to wake up and see, and they're like, okay, well, I see that something's not right. Let me start researching. You couldn't have said it better. Our history is very painful. It does hurt, but you gotta go through the pain in order to see the monster for what it is.
That's right.
You can't heal what you're not aware of.
That's right.
It's gonna make you angry, yes. Because once you see what was done to you and how your ancestors were brainwashed, how your people was brainwashed, and this was done intentionally, it's gonna make you angry. But what you do is you take that anger and you transmute it, turn it into. Use alchemy and you transmute it into a passion to do something about it, to change. Right. And you continue to read. Like one of the books that helped me wake up, it was A Message to the Black Man. And then another book that really woke me up was Breaking the Curse of Willie Lynch by Alvin Monroe. That right there, it laid out their blueprint on how they psychologically brainwashed us. It laid out the blueprint. And reading that book made me furious. But I said, you know what? God, guide me to make a difference. Use me. And now I kept going. I kept learning. I kept healing. I went through the emotions. I said, okay, this is what was done. And I started to see what I wanted to do to help. And that's how you turn that. And now I'm on my purpose and my mission showing up in this way. And that's how you turn that anger into something positive.
Right.
And that's what she's saying, essentially, ultimately, is how do you take what was given to you in a negative way and turn that into something where you redefine it into something else?
Yeah. See, I think that you're absolutely on spot. We have to reclaim who we are. We have to reclaim who we are. Again, I tell you this all the time. I talk to brothers and I say, you know, we're the original, man.
Yeah, we're the original.
Brothers have a hard time wearing that crown.
Yeah, because they don't know their history.
Yeah. You know, well, you know, we're not, I don't think the Jews are the chosen, but I don't think we are either. You know, no, we are. We were the first. Again, break it down simplistically. Okay, if we were the first that the Creator created, that meant that we had to learn everything that was here already. We had to learn what water was. We had to learn what fish were. We had to, so we did all of that. We did all, and we continue to do all of that. We continue to be groundbreakers.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If you look historically, every time there's a major movement socially for all people, it's behind us.
Mm-hmm.
Something that we're doing,
Mm-hmm.
some oppression that we're going through, or something that we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
We're making a change.
Mm-hmm.
When we do better, everybody does better.
Yeah. Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
We're the true humanitarians.
Yeah.
And so it's our history that we have to learn so we can see, oh, we're not just descendants of slaves, we're descendants of kings and queens and people that went around and uplifting civilizations, Mansa Musas. We are freedom fighters. Like, we are more than just descendants of slaves. Another thing too, which I just love how she put up that Kemet images. We have to know not just our history, but what we are as human beings and the power that we have.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you learn about how your mind functions, you're going to learn about how your reality is created.
Mm-hmm.
When you learn how your reality is created, can't nobody tell you nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You got the secrets. When you learn about not just who you are, but what you are and the power of your melanin, that sets you free.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's not just know yourself. What do you need to know in order to help you redefine yourself?
Mm-hmm.
You got to know your melanin and the science behind it.
Right.
You got to know how it connects you to the sun, the moon, and the stars. You got to know your relationship to the sun, the moon, the stars, and the earth. And so that's why I'm like, this, she couldn't have said it any better. Like,
mm-hmm.
You have to have knowledge of self.
Stuff that they use for going to college and all this stuff. So you don't need these crutches. Because when you understand that you're a manifestation of the creator, you can learn anything you want to,
Yes.
anytime you want to, and apply it.
Oh, let me just say something right there. So a lot of us get stuck on, I got to get a college degree. Mm-hmm. I got to go to school. I got to get a degree before I go out. And I got this amazing idea and I want to do this thing, but I got to get a degree before anybody listens to me. And those are limiting. Mm-hmm. Those are very limiting because I connected with my purpose. I connected what I'm here to do with my life and doing things that is giving me fulfillment outside of school. And the way I'm able to do that is because I started to learn about who I am and my melanin and how I'm connected to the sun. Mm-hmm. And how I can communicate with the sun. Because I learned that the sun is a frequency. It's a conscious being. It's a light being. And then I learned that when I sit in the sun, I hear voices in my mind. I get visions. How? How is that possible? Mm-hmm. Well, when you learn about melanin and how it transmutes, it's a telecommunicator. It transmutes information from the sun and it turns it into vitamin D. That's data. That's also flowing in our minds through neuromelanin. So as a human being, how do we understand frequency? It comes in through a voice, a thought, and then it turns into a voice. And so when you understand that, you see that, oh my goodness, I can learn anything. Because when you learn that you can transmute information from the sun, and the sun has the information, I'm going a little bit too, I know I'm going a little bit further than some people can understand or understand, but the sun sees everything, and it sees the progression of humanity, and it keeps records and data and information, and we can get access to that through our melanin. And this is the type of knowledge that no university can teach you. Only melanated people that have consciousness, have the open third eye, can understand that. And that's what she's saying here. And I feel that part is so lost because we're conditioned to not go in the sun. We're conditioned to not listen to different voices in our mind. Oh, you crazy because there's different thoughts. And we're conditioned and programmed that way. But if we went out and sat in the sun and wrote down the types of things that we hear from sitting in the sun, we'll have that experience.
Yeah, but see, I guess the thing we also have to keep in mind is that we've been, this is a very light word, brainwashed.
Yeah.
And so what what I would suggest to the listening audience is you have to do some studying.
Yeah.
You have to get out of the habit of not doing research.
Oh my
You
gosh.
hear all the latest pundits. They tell you, do your research, get your facts together. They tell you that all the time. Well, we have to do that too. We have to get our facts together from the standpoint of countering what was pumped into us, what was pumped into it, all the negative things that were pumped in. So the only way we can get rid of that is we have to go and dig deeper and find out what how did they do that? Why did they do it? And yes, what you're going to learn is that the European is probably the most vicious, vile, violent, inhumane person on the planet Earth, in the family, in the human family. Yeah. They have the record par none. I don't have to go through no whole litany of things to tell you about that. You already know. If you just look at what they did in the Congo, the Belgian Congo,
they've caused mass genocide, mass pollution. They have caused mass extinctions. They dropped bombs on the earth, and there's a hole in the ozone layer. And they've created mass poverty and mass hunger, mass shootings, mass suicide since they're influenced.
Right.
Just to name a few.
So that's just to name a few. So that's the first thing. The other part is that in knowing who you are, then you will know something about how they educated our people. So our education, what the European did, they came in and saw our education system, and they said, well, we'll just minimize that and say that was the mystery system.
Yeah.
So they make it, let's just call it a mystery system. So that'll confuse a whole lot of people. What does that mean?
What does that mean?
No, that was a university system.
Knowledge of yourself, your melanin, your divinity, life after death.
That was a university system. When you went through the university system, you had to take the 12 liberal arts, and you had to study each one of them, and you had to study it until you mastered it. That meant not just pass, not just a D, not just a C, but you mastered that body of knowledge. So now you have the information, and now you can use it to do those things that you talked about, to understand your melanin, to tap into your melanin, to understand your relationship with the sun. Those are things that they took from us and said it was voodoo and said it doesn't work and all of that kind of stuff. They come up with a quick fix-it routine, and we always go for it. I mean, just look at the number of people that go to the doctor, and the doctor says, well, this is what we think is wrong with you, but here's the rest, here's a prescription, go get these drugs and whatever. They care nothing about you. They're thinking about making money. Those pharmaceutical companies pay those doctors, they give them a kickback for all the drugs that they sell you. So they've taken away our ability to heal ourselves. Look at dogs. Dogs, when a dog gets sick, what does a dog do? Dog will go into a dark place and stay there for a couple of days, and they come out, he's cool. See what I'm saying? We don't know that we have the same ability. We rejuvenate our genes every day. Our blood vessel, we that every day we do that. You can grow a hand. Again, remember she said we can do anything we want to do. Okay, well, they've taken that away from us because we're always looking for handouts from them. See, we can create our own system in this system. We're in the belly of the beast. Okay, this is you say, well, that's all down there with all the fecal matter and all that. No, that's the best place to be, because you can take that beast down from inside out. And so, go back to the European stories, Helen of Troy. What did they do? They made this big horse. They put it filled with troops. They gave it to the king as a gift. He brought it inside the gates. All them cats came out at night and slaughtered all of them. I mean, so it's, we're in the best seat of the house. We built this country, and we got to own it. We got to take ownership that we built it. They didn't build this. They were sitting out on the porch drinking pina coladas, talking about bringing that winch up here.
I think one of the biggest things that we have to accept is there are certain gateways and portals, there are certain doors that white people will never have access to.
Right.
Because
Absolutely.
they don't have melanin.
Right.
They can't define, they can't tell us who we are if they don't even experience what it's like to have melanin.
Right.
How can I tell you about these visions I'm having? And you have no idea what I'm talking about
Right.
because you don't have melanin.
Right.
How can I talk to you about all these levels of consciousness that I'm thinking of and all these dots that I'm connecting? You can't even fathom to understand what I'm saying. Akashic records, the sun, seeing the sun as a record holder. You can't possibly understand that because you don't have the melanin to intercede.
Yep.
The melanin is what allows us to have inner vision, to look down within your own soul, to see what's inside. See, when you talk about that to a psychologist, or you talk about that to, so you go to your doctor, they're gonna call you crazy. There's certain things that they can never have access to, so we should not get our definitions from them.
To add an exclamation point to that, that's why you see the Arabs and the Europeans today, 2025, still in Kemet, climbing all over them pyramids trying to decode that stuff
because
they can't decode it. They can't decode it.
They can't decode those symbols because they didn't build it.
Yeah.
That is divine technology that they will never have access to.
Right.
Those are pale skinned people.
Right.
You need melanin to be able to look at that symbol and have access to a higher level of consciousness to interpret that symbol.
That's right.
They can't do it. That's why they can do is just make money off tourism.
Right.
That's why they're not living in Ma'at. That's why they're not in the golden age. How you got the pyramids in your backyard and you not living in golden age? And you're not living in equality. You can't figure out how to bring rain and water. You're not living like it. People are not being awakened. And that was the purpose of the temples. So that just goes to show you that they're not the progenitors of it.
That's
but there's gateways that pale people will never have access
ever.
to.
And they know that.
And they know it. They know it.
Right.
Have to apologize for them. Being a black woman. I mean, this is the same issue.
Make sure we're still
recording. I'm a black woman, so that means da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, obviously, when she overeats, or when she's actually smoking drugs herself or marijuana, or she's basically a workaholic because she thinks that working 24 hours is going to make her a better person, or she's got to play the lotto every day, or whatever else. All of this is because her esteem of self is less than what the body and the emotional body knows it should be. So taking away the lotto, firing her off her job, whatever else is situated, none of that treats the problem. It is the fact that she has to redefine who she is, change her name, or give herself a broader definition of self and be able to actualize that. But the idea that something divine now having to be apologized for that's inadequate is totally a problem.
Oh my gosh.
And you have to understand the women.
First of all, the fact that during the oppressive period, which is, during slavery, how religion was used to condition us to believe that our natural connection to the sun, the moon, the stars, and the earth is a sin. That right there is that brainwashing that she's talking about. We were conditioned to believe that our natural connection, our divinity, and our spirituality is bad. And we were conditioned to believe that way.
Maintain an industry, $18 billion a year in straightening their hair. Now, so you have to understand that is a real problem because, first of all, it totally takes her out of her element that she needs to be able to be here on the planet. You can't stay in the sun. You can't be in the rain. You can't be in the wind. You need sun and water and wind.
Now, that's a big one for me. That's a big one. That's huge for me because I had 4 sisters and I saw them go through the tortures of back in the day of my mother putting her down on the floor between her and doing it and putting that hot comb. And, oh, mama, it's burning. She'd pop them on the head. Be still. That just, I used to sit there. I couldn't believe it. I'm a little boy. I'm sitting there looking. I said, who tortures themselves to get their hair a certain way,
Yeah.
And then just like she said, well, my daughter told me that I got her, signed her up for swimming lessons. My daughter came back. I wasn't married to her mother. My daughter came back and said, I can't go swimming anymore. My mother said my hair will go back.
Now, how many of us avoid swimming because of our hair?
Right.
Oh my gosh. And
Right.
swimming is like a fundamental thing that every human being should know.
Right.
But we don't do it.
So the other thing I saw was one of my sisters. She was ready to retire, and she wanted to go into cosmetology. And I, being an educator, I tried to talk her out of that because I watched her grow up and I saw her work performance and behavior. And I told her, I said, you're too lazy to be a cosmetologist. I said, you got to hustle to do that. You don't have the hustle. You know, she was looking at the glamour part of it.
Yeah.
You know, that I asked her, I said, well, do you know how you're going to get your customers? She hadn't thought about it. She thought, I said, so what do you think? When you open a salon, people are just going to flood in your place. Doesn't work that way. You know, she did it anyway. She went on to cosmetology school and she got out. She didn't do anything with it. You know, she didn't do anything with it because she didn't realize what it took to establish herself as a cosmetologist and be successful, because they're a dime a dozen. There's some successful and there's a whole lot that ain't. See what I'm saying? But we're always looking for something easy, and nothing is easy.
You got to put in the work.
You got to put in the work. You know, so the point that she makes about that, you know, like to me, when she talked about you taking the hair, they talked about you taking the hair, you taking the spirit of the person that had whose hair you got.
Yo, like,
okay, you're taking that spirit, you're putting it in your stuff. You know, I mean, that can't work for you. That can't work for you.
It does not. That's why knowledge of self is so important, because when you learn about who you are as a human being, and when you look in that mirror and say, let me study who I am, the first thing you see is what? Melanin. Okay, you study your melanin. The reason why our hair is so kinky, okay, we've been conditioned, historically, we've been conditioned to believe that our hair is not good enough, and that came from the plantation life. And so in order to get inside of their and operate and navigate into their systems and their society, we had to straighten our hair to be more like a white woman. And when I started to learn about who I am and my melanin, I'm like, oh, well, what does my melanin do? Oh, it's all throughout my body. And it's a reflection of the electricity flowing through my body. That's why my hair is kinky. It's because I have so much melanin, so much electricity, so much access to higher levels of consciousness. It shows in my hair. And so I don't look at my hair as something that is negative or bad or dry or too kinky. No, it's a reflection of the electricity and the energy flowing through me. That's how you redefine yourself. And that's what Kukran was saying, is we've been socially conditioned and historically through living in a white supremacy society that our hair is not good enough. But once you start to learn who you are and the science of your melanin, you can then redefine yourself and take back your beauty and show up as you are and be okay with it.
And see, the other thing for me as a man, I remember I grew up during that period of time. To me, there wasn't nothing any more beautiful than the African sister with an afro, with her natural hair. To me, there was nothing.
Oh my God!
You know, that to me, when a brother back in those days, when we looked at a sister that had that natural hair, I mean, that just turned us on big time. I mean, you know, it told us so much about her. You know, she's confident, she's proud. You know, it told me so. It told us so much about. Yeah, you know, and then they came right back. Then they came back with the weave. Then they came out with that again. What they come up with is a new fad that they create. We don't create. It'd be something different if we created it. They create it, and then they get us to jump right in on it, and then we start buying it. Now you're paying $1,200 for some weave,
and it's poison. The stuff that they use to make that stuff, it has all kinds of carcinogens in it, toxins in it, and like you were saying, it's the waste of somebody else's hair,
right?
And we got beautiful natural hair growing out of our own head. But we've been programmed and brainwashed to believe that it's not enough.
Right. And the other part is, again, knowing your history, is we were close to the equator. Okay. When we're the original people. When the Creator put us down, they put us down.
Up in
We
the
know
sun.
where they did. They put us out there close to the equator in the sun, and the Creator, in its infinite wisdom, realized that what that created was a being that would have certain kinds of reactions to elements in the weather and the sun and that.
Characteristics.
Okay, if you're going to be close to the equator, you need a lot of melanin.
Yes, you got to transmute.
You need a
that
lot
sun.
of
You gotta
melanin
transmute
to
that
be able to,
sun.
so you don't get sunburn.
Exactly.
And so that melanin just pops up and says,
Yeah.
back off, you know, and that hair, because she said the electricity in there, this is where the electricity starts.
Yes.
Okay. So the hair is round. So it's shooting the electricity up like that.
Yes.
So that's what it's for.
The purpose.
So when we take the a hot comb and put it through your hair, you're killing your hair. You're destroying your hair. To look like what?
To look like what? To look like your oppressor.
Right.
To look like the people that are oppressing you.
Right.
That are profiting off of your pain.
So what do we have here? We have an addiction. That is an addictive process. So if you wanted to equate the crack pushers and the hair salons on the block, they were probably of the same number. And we have to deal with that.
That's so true.
Now, there's no Koreans, anybody else, or whoever's making this synthetic hair, that definitely is like what the Creator has given you. So the key is that there is a self-imposed low esteem that causes these individuals to go through this discomfort on a regular basis. It's discomforting. You should see what they go through in these hair salons to get that stuff done. It's discomforting. And there's no need to lie about it. And as I said, it's unnatural. You cannot be your natural self and sustain it.
I just want to add to the discomfort. I recently started wearing my natural hair. I used to wear weaves. I used to wear wigs. I used to wear laces. I used to wear quick weaves. I used to put all that stuff. It is so, one, time consuming. It's painful. Having tight braids, costly. It is so uncomfortable having to constantly change your look all the time. And it's so mentally exhausting when you can't even, if somebody call you, hey, can you come through real quick, or I'm outside, or we about to go somewhere real quick. Oh, I need 3 hours, 4 hours. I need the whole day to get ready. That's too much. It's mentally exhausting. And it costs so much trying to change yourself. You know what really was the turning factor for me? Working where I'm at, and I'm seeing like with the women there, the white women there, they're able to just have a sense of freedom. Just wake up, comb their hair, and walk out the house and have a sense of freedom. And I'm like, why can't I have that freedom? It's not like that with me. Before I walk out the house, I gotta, is my edges slick? Oh, is my hair smooth? Oh, is this, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want that freedom to just be, just to exist. And I said, you know what? I'm just gonna learn to love myself. And that's when I started the locks. Now I have that freedom. I could just get up, spray some water, and go. But it is
Makes sense to me.
It is so consuming. It takes so much mental effort to constantly have to think about what you look like before you step out the house. And
one last point on that. And one of the misconceptions is, sisters, you have to stop kidding yourselves and trying to play games with yourself and saying men like it. Most men don't like it. They're not going to say anything because they don't want to go through all the drama. But no, most men don't like that.
And
you know, we have to go that way because we want what you got, so we got to go for that. But that all of that fake stuff on and all them different colors and all, you know, that men don't like that. Now there's some young guys that like that.
Because of that certain image, the baddie image,
right? But
which is very
but not when you're talking about getting a man, a real man. That's not going to be a turn on.
I agree.
So therefore, it's like that automatically takes you out into a different element. And I learned that a long time ago, and I just really had to let that go. So I had to redefine myself. I had to move into a different awareness of what I meant to myself and why that was not going to be an issue in my life, because I felt that if I could not face myself as how it was created, it was a personal problem that really meant that there was always going to be a block between me and whatever I tried to relate to.
Yep.
So now we have the same issue with our relationship with our children. It's not a sincere one because we don't even come to them being ourselves. We have this problem with the relationships with our men because we don't come to them being ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I have some women that tell me that their husband ain't never seen their real hair.
That's crazy.
I mean, you know, so I mean, that's incredible.
Mm.
So I mean, what is he really loving? I mean, what is he really with?
That is so powerful
It
because
is.
how can you tell your son? You're probably not even telling your son
You're not.
to date a black woman,
Right.
because you don't even show or represent yourself as a true black woman.
Thank you.
How
Thank you.
can your son go for a black woman and you don't even be a true representation of it?
One of the things that I used to say, tell the young ladies when I was in college, they used to really get mad when I tell them that. I said, if you don't want the brothers to stop going to white girls, stop trying to look like them.
We have to stop looking like them.
Stop trying to look like them.
Be yourself.
Right.
Have high self-esteem within ourselves.
Why am I going to go with a try to be when I can get the white girl?
Exactly.
You know,
where I can actually touch her hair.
Right. You know, so to me, if you want to get the brother, you know, then you come strong as a black woman. You know, then you're going to get the real man. Now, if you want that image stuff, you know, that's, you know, how long does that last? I mean, you know, let's look at R. Kelly and Puff Daddy. You know, how long does that last? That don't last a little too long, you know. But if you get a real guy, man, you know, he wants you to be who you are.
Yes.
You know, an African queen.
Yes.
He wants you to be an African queen. You know, we got little African princesses and we got African queens, you know, and that's what men want. We want that. We don't want a lookalike. Well, she looks more like the white, so I'm over here with this white. That's for those guys that want white girls. Like I got one person in my family that I love like long hair. I said, how many black chicks you know got long hair?
I see plenty but they got locks though.
Yeah, but I'm saying their own natural hair. You know, they don't. So that's what are you really saying?
You don't want a black woman.
You know.
You know that this kind of limitation or esteem of self is extremely dangerous. And when a person withholds from themselves to that extent, how are they going to really give you their best? They lie every time they say they love you. How can they when they don't love themselves?
Oh, can we talk about that?
Yes.
How can you tell somebody you love them and you don't even love yourself? If I see a woman with straight hair, I say she don't love herself. She has not connected with her truth. I see a woman with a wig on. Yeah, she's saying she's spewing out love. This, I love my man, but you don't even love yourself enough to show up as God created you.
Right.
We have a distorted version or vision of what love is.
Oh yeah, we don't know what love is at all because the European is a master, a wordsmith, and they use words to keep us off guard. Okay, so there's I love my dog. Okay, I love my new car. I love my hair. I love this outfit. I love this man. How do you differentiate between all those loves? See what I'm saying? Because it's a nebulous term that we just use recklessly. We recklessly use that term, and so it covers everything. I love. And see, that's one of the things I tell the young girls, the teenager girls, when I do workshops with them, and they don't like it. I tell them, I said, the thing that you guys have to understand is that those of you who are raised by a single mom, okay, you're coming with a certain kind of baggage. And so what you're doing is when you start taking an interest in little boys, then you're getting mixed signals. You're giving them mixed signals because you're looking for a father and a boyfriend. And those are two totally different things. And so we as boys, we watch movies and TVs and we overhear older guys. So if I need to say, I love you to get the nookie, guess what?
Gonna say it.
I'm going to say it. Have no intentions of being in love with you, but that's what I'm trying to get. So I said, why don't we get the teenagers to understand that when they're getting hot and bothered under the collar, they need to say, I lust you.
Yeah.
Because that's what that is.
Or I desire you.
I desire you. You know,
Not love.
But see, we do that, and that messes the young girls all up. Because now they say he really
or
loves
I crave
me. Yeah.
for something, but not love.
Yeah.
Not love.
Yeah.
Because true love is acceptance without conditions.
That's right.
And you have conditions on how much you love yourself.
That's right.
Every time before you walk out that house and say, let me throw this wig on, you're putting conditions on yourself. That's not unconditional love. Okay? When my hair is dry, I still come outside and show up. I have no conditions on my hair.
And we need to stop really playing this game. This is what causes the diseases that we have. And we cannot look to anybody but ourselves to treat them. So, you know, as I see these huge institutions pop up, they're talking about they're the hospitals and they can give you a new arm and somebody's liver and somebody's leg and whatever else, etc. It is totally unnecessary because you can reach a...
I love that. I love that because I never donate, you know, when they ask you will you donate, I never do. And I just instinctively, I said, nah, I'm not doing that. Makes perfect sense to me. You know, again, you're trying to improve on God's creation.
It's already perfect.
See what I'm saying? I mean, one of the things that people have to understand is when you see that kid that is born, comes into this world with no arms and learns to walk or whatever they do, that's no mistake. That's no mistake. That's no person that feels sorry for. Okay? That's how that person manifested. That person chose to manifest that way, and that person has got everything they need to deal with whatever comes their way.
Yep, that's their journey.
That's their journey.
For that evolution.
And the creators gave you all the things that you need to make it in there.
Yep.
Now, if you sit back and choose and feel sorry for yourself and why me, all of that, well, then you're going to get more of that. But if you get out there and say, hey, you know, I can do this. You know, I can do this.
I've been seeing people with no hands and feet.
Yeah. I've
been seeing people, and they even be on TikTok.
And be smiling and laughing.
Some people are burned all over their body. See, everybody has their own. What we're here to do on this earth is to evolve our spiritual being, our energetic being, because energy can't be destroyed. It can only be transferred and transformed. So we have to learn who we are, awaken to who we are, grow, have experiences to evolve our being on this planet, because that's what we're going to take into our next life. And so when I look at people and I see that, you know, some people may not have, you know, arms or legs, I look at them like, okay, they came here to experience something. Because what that does is it has them enhance other parts of their body. Like if somebody's blind, they develop excellent hearing. See, it's stuff like that you take into your next life. So we don't have to look at them as, oh, we pity them. We look at it as, no, there's something that they needed to learn on this earth for the time they're here. And that's going to take them into their next life.
Right. And there's something they're contributing here while they're here.
They're showing us skills, and they're showing us things that we couldn't even imagine doing, how they can get through it and be happy, how to have true happiness and smile every day. That's
like when you look at the poor African children with the fat stomachs, with the filth all around them, and they're still happy because they're not feeling the oppression of white supremacy. You know, it's there, but they don't feel it like that. They have people around them that cushion it for them. That cushion it for them. You know, they give them love. You know, that kind of stuff. They don't take it out on them. They mad because they don't have something. They beat their kids. You know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So she's on point.
Yeah, she is.
Generate any part of your body. And the proper thing to do is give you the information so you can access that part of your brain so that it can regenerate. But the idea that you're going to go in the garbage can and get somebody's dead body in the grave and put that inside yourself.
What did Kemet do? In Kemet, okay, before it was Egypt, it was Kemet. And they were performing surgeries without even opening up your body. That's divine technology. And that's what she's saying. You don't have to wait until somebody gets into a car accident or dies and harvest their organs and put it inside of you in order for you to be healed. You can heal yourself. But you need divine consciousness. You need a higher level of consciousness. You need melanin.
Another piece. When I was a kid, and I went down south. What the sisters have a lot of spiritual power.
Yeah.
Sisters have much more spiritual power than brothers. They're more in tune, but they don't know how to use it.
Yeah.
And so, but what they used to do was when anybody got sick, all the women in the village would come and get a circle around that bed, and they could heal that person. They would concentrate.
Wow.
All the concentration would be on that.
Yo, I believe it.
See what I'm saying?
Wow.
So we gave that up. That's voodoo. That's spiritual spookism. You know, we gave up all of that power that we had.
Out of us.
You know, like when I was a kid, my mother had those old remedies and stuff that, you know, go out and get some of these weeds and get some of this stuff or whatever, you know, and you got healed. Now, what the pharmaceutical said, well, no, we'll just go out and see, we'll take that plant and say that it has a certain percentage of that in there, but we got all these other drugs in there to
they swap it out with synthetics.
To get them hooked on them, you know. And so we just popping pills. You know, I know a guy that takes 10 pills a day. He's killing himself, don't even know it. See what I'm saying? When you sit still and start meditating, learn how to meditate and reconnect, open yourself up, just like you said earlier, you got to go deep into the subconscious because the subconscious is where they have all the information.
Yes.
You know, the consciousness is where you create. The subconscious is what does the work. See what I'm saying? But if you're not in touch with the subconscious, you can't do that. And like when I tell youngsters that man's natural state is peace, they can't even fathom that.
The frequency of peace. No anxiety, no shocks to the gut, no shocks to the heart, anxiety.
Right.
That throws your energy off balance.
Right.
Peace is when, you know, there's no worry, you're not in fear, you're not in flight or fight. You have rhythm, peace, and harmony within your body.
Right. Right.
No esteem. Uncensored won't even do that. They recognize they can crawl off and get a new leg in a new jail. They don't need to go to the visit graveyard if there's such a thing and get somebody else's. So here you are with a huge brain that has the capacity to put airplanes in the sky, space stations, and you're going to crawl off and get a dead carcass and put it in your body. There is a real problem, and nobody should be able to sell you any madness like that. They're going on here collecting blood. And I'm like, for what? Everybody makes their own every day.
I just love that. I love that. That was such a good. She was like, for what? Everybody make their own blood every day. Yeah. That is so true.
Right.
We just have to get back to that. And that's why knowledge of self is important. And there's plenty of our scholars that have done the work, compiled it together, so you can get an understanding of who you are, and as a human being, your melanin, your mind, how it functions, what's been done to us. Right. And we have to start reading and educating ourselves.
And again, the topic was self-esteem. Now, it covered a lot of information in that brief. It was an 8-minute video. Yeah. But in that 8-minute video, look at all the information that it put out there in one little setting. So if you imagine that this person has a whole channel herself, and she has videos on there, short ones like that. She has some long ones too, but she's breaking it down to us for us. As Shauna said, we have a slew of African scholars that have done the work. They've done whose shoulders we stand on. They've done the work. Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, Dr. Ben Yakinen, you know, Dr. John Jackson, Dr. Wade Nobles, Dr. Asa Hilliard, you know, all of these brothers, Dr. Naeem Akbar, all of these brothers devoted their lives. Chancellor Williams wrote one of the most profound books. I suggested everybody read this book and let your whole family read it. The Destruction of Black Civilization. This brother goes back, gives you 4,000 years of our history.
Wow.
He lost his eyesight doing the research.
Wow.
He traveled to every country on the continent and dealt with the natives, the people out in the bush. So he got the information firsthand. Okay. And he put that book together. I'm talking about it's a work of art. I used to run home to read it.